Hey everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. Most of you that watch my channel probably know that I suffer from fibromyalgia and that I have for 10 years. And I do take medication for my condition. And sometimes people will ask me what type of medication I take. And the main medication I take for my condition is tramadol, which has been incredibly effective for me. On occasion, I will take Norco when the pain is really bad. That's not really for my fibromyalgia, but more for the pain that I get from the back injuries I've had from the car accidents I've been in, the bike accidents I've been in, as well as the time I was hit by a car one time when I was out running. Some lady hit me. She hit me with her car and then she took off. And I had to go to the emergency room, and I actually had to pay for it out of my own pocket because I didn't have insurance at that time. But that's a whole nother story of crappy stuff that's happened to me in my life. But anyway, and I have been prescribed clonazepam, also known as Klonopin, for my anxiety and to help me sleep. And I wanted to do this video because a lot of times people will have preconceived ideas or judgmental attitudes towards people that take medication, especially if it's an opiate or it's a benzo, or it's like a Xanax or Prozac or clonazepam, just any type of medication that can be, you know, quote unquote addictive. And it's not, these medications, they absolutely are addictive. I'm not saying that they're not. But a lot of times people can just have a judgmental attitude about it, and towards people that take these medications. Anyone that knows me knows that I work very hard to take care of myself. I obviously exercise every day. I eat very healthy. I do meditate. I stretch. I take hot baths with Epsom salt. I use the hot tub at my gym. So I really do a lot to help manage my pain outside of the medication. At this time, I can't really afford alternative care like chiropractic care, acupuncture, massage therapy, which I know would be incredibly beneficial to me, but I just simply can't afford it right now. And so the medication that I take has really been a godsend for the past 10 years that I've been taking it, because when I was initially diagnosed with fibromyalgia, we were experimenting with medications, and I was on disability for a year because I wasn't managing my symptoms. And finally, when my doctor experimented with tramadol, it ended up changing my life. I was able to get off disability and I was able to go back to work. And so for those of you that have to take any type of medication for your pain, it's important that you know, or for depression or anxiety, it's very important that you know it's nothing to feel ashamed or embarrassed about. Now, there's no question that there are people that abuse the medication. Obviously, there's the DEA, the federal government have really made the laws a lot stricter, more difficult for people to get it. And for those of us that are prescribed these types of medication, first of all, I want to assure you that they are very heavily monitored. In every state that I've been in so far in the past few years, California, now Nevada, and I was in Kansas for a while, where I had to have my medication transferred there from my doctor in California, you really have to jump through a lot of hoops to get any type of prescription for any type of opiate or any drug that is Schedule 4 or higher. You really do. You have to jump through a lot of hoops in order to obtain this medication. And so for those of you that have any type of preconceived idea about people that take these medications, just know that the majority of people that are prescribed these medications, that are taking it, they are taking it responsibly. Because again, you have to take a pee test, you have to be monitored and see your doctor like every month. At least I had to. Well, I had other conditions too, other situations where I had to do that. But yeah, you definitely, by law, you have to see your doctor at least every 6 months, and you have to take a urine test at least every 6 months. At least that was in the state of California. And if there's any type of drug or any quantity of drug in your system that's beyond what you've been prescribed, they will immediately take that medication off of your list and they won't prescribe it anymore. And so the medical community definitely does take plenty of precautions to make sure that people aren't abusing it. Granted, there will always be people, if they're really that addicted, they will find ways and they will abuse the medication. And unfortunately, there are millions of people that overdose and die on these medications every year. And that will probably always be so. You know, that's probably something that people will, whether, even if the medication was just completely illegal outright, like crack cocaine or heroin, people would still find a way to get it if they really wanted to get it, if they were addicted to it. And so, yes, there are a lot of people that do die from misusing these medications every day. But there are also millions of people that have been taking them for years, even decades, that have never overdosed, that have never been convicted of any crime related to addiction, that have been very responsible, and that have been able to live a normal life because of these medications. And so for me, when I first had to start taking my medication for my fibromyalgia, initially it was in my mind that it was just going to be temporary. And 10 years later, I still have to take it in order for me to literally to function and to feel normal. And when I first started taking it, I did feel a lot of shame and embarrassment with it. And a lot of it was just because of the stigma that people put on people that had to take medication, especially opiates and especially benzos, that people will tend to look at them and think, oh, well, you know, they're probably drug addicts, or they're just irresponsible, or they're not willing to do what they need to do in order to take care of their pain or whatever. And I was embarrassed about the fact I had to take these medications. And I felt like that for a long time. I hated the fact that I had to take it. Now I would definitely say I'm very much at peace with it. I still wish I didn't have to. And I'm hoping that someday I will be able to get to a point through alternative care and through the science of epigenetics and just the power, you know, the ability that the body really does have to heal itself. I really do believe it does. I am hoping that someday I will be able to get off of all of them, and I will be able to live a functional, normal life just with strictly naturopathic and alternative care. But right now, that's not my reality, and that's not the case. And so I do take these medications in order to help me function. And I'm not ashamed or embarrassed by it anymore. And I will be honest, I have gotten reactions from people in the past when I'll tell them that I take tramadol, which is an opiate. It's not as strong as Norco. It's on a lower schedule than Norco is, so it's not as, it is a controlled substance, but it's not as a substance that is as much concern as medication like Norco. But people will make comments like, oh, don't you know that's addictive? You mean you take that every day? I mean, how long are you going to take that for? I mean, is it safe for you to be taking it? Shouldn't you try something else? And I really think it's interesting how people with absolutely no medical background, whether it's in the medical, traditional medical, or naturopathic, they have no background whatsoever, and they're so quick to judge me. And not only that, these people probably make 10% of the effort towards their health that I make every day. These are often people that do not exercise on a regular basis, don't take care of themselves, eat very unhealthy, poisonous, toxic food, and they're sitting there judging me on because I take these medications, even though I'm incredibly healthier than them and will probably outlive them by decades unless they start taking care of themselves. So that's why I've always found it to be very ironic and a little hypocritical for people to judge me. And to make snide remarks, you know, or what have you, when I tell them that I have to take medications in order to help me function. And so it definitely can be incredibly frustrating. So if you are someone that does have to take any type of opiate or benzo medication or any medication that people see as addictive, or people will kind of look down on you or judge you because you have to take it, it's so important that you don't feel embarrassed, don't feel ashamed that you have to take them, especially if these medications have made it possible for you to live a normal life and to function. And a lot of people will say, but people that suffer from chronic illness or severe depression and anxiety, which can be debilitating, a lot of people will say, when I found this medication, it changed my life, and I am now able to function like a normal human being, and I am so grateful that I have it. And Certainly, I do wish that the medical industry promoted more naturopathic care. I certainly do feel like doctors can often just very quickly throw medication at people before they try some other type of alternative care. I really wish the medical industry did promote that more. And so I'm certainly not saying that it's not an issue. It definitely is, but there is a time where medication is appropriate, and it is a godsend for the people that take it and have been able to return to a normal functioning life because of it. So please really try to think twice before you make comments towards people that suffer from depression and chronic illness about the medications they take. Please think twice, because first of all, you really have no idea what these people suffer through every day. And I personally think that emotional illness like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, whatever it is, I personally think that that's 10 times worse than any type of physical chronic illness like what I have, fibromyalgia. I do suffer from some anxiety, but it's really not serious. I've never really suffered from depression, maybe circumstantial. But in general, I just am not a depressed person. But people that do suffer from any type of emotional illness, I really have a tremendous amount of compassion for, because it really does debilitate you, and it really can take your life from you. And so once you're able to find a treatment plan and a medication that can help you function, it really can change your life, and it can save your life. So please think twice the next time someone is open with you, because first of all, it's oftentimes hard for people to be open and honest about these things when they're talking to their friends or their loved ones or whoever, and then to get a judgmental, snide remark from these people, especially when these people don't have any history of drug addiction or any criminal history from drugs or anything, especially when these are normal, functioning, law-abiding citizens that are otherwise healthy. Again, really think twice before you make your remarks and state your opinion. And of course, I certainly, do believe that it is something that does need to be monitored, and there do need to be laws. And because my father personally died because of his addiction to prescription medication as well as alcoholism. So it is something that I do see as a very serious topic. It is something that I do not take lightly. However, I've always been incredibly responsible with my medications, and if I don't need it, I simply just won't take it if I'm having a great day or whatever. And I will always try other forms of pain management before I go to another tramadol, or I go to a Norco if the pain is really bad, or I go to a clonazepam. If my anxiety is really bad or I can't sleep, I will try other methods. And sometimes they work and I won't have to take it. Sometimes they don't. And so I no longer feel ashamed or embarrassed about the medications that I have to take. And if somebody makes a judgmental comment or has an attitude like that towards me, I just let it go and think, well, you know what? That's definitely not someone that I need to be close to in my life if they can't understand or accept, what I have to do to manage my condition. And I just don't entertain it. I don't feel the need to explain it. I don't feel the need to justify it. And you should never feel like you have to justify your medication to people. Never feel that way. If someone is judgmental towards you and has a very strong opinion, negative opinion about it, don't waste your time trying to justify it to them, because honestly, in my opinion, they're not worth that kind of time. Those people are not worth that type of energy. And obviously this only applies to people that are very responsible with their medication and have never had any history of drug addiction. And even for those that have had a history with drug addiction, again, you don't really know why these people went to drugs, because oftentimes when people are suffering from chronic pain, especially when it's severe, or they got into some type of car accident where they got severe back injuries where they're now in excruciating pain every day. Obviously, it was never their intention to become addicted. But because the medication provides so much relief and the ability for them to function, people will have a tendency to abuse it. And a lot of the times these people are demonized, which I really think is so unfortunate. That people that do end up getting addicted to these medications really get looked down on and really get demonized, because again, you don't know why they went that route or they made that decision. I'm not justifying it and saying that it's okay. Certainly you need to get help. You need to deal with it. It's not something that should be tolerated. But again, just really try to think twice before you pass judgment on people that have to take any type of medication to manage any type of emotional or physical illness that they deal with. So anyway, this was something that was on my mind just because of a friend of mine. She is actually right now she's trying to push for a change in laws with a lot of the opiate laws now, and they're actually they actually were able to arrange a visit to Washington, D.C. to talk to lawmakers or congressmen, or I can't really remember exactly what the whole situation is or how it's organized. But either way, they really are trying to raise awareness for people that do need opiate medication, and they are responsible with this medication. They don't have any history of addiction or drug crimes or anything like that, and they are people who are truly in pain. She is right now helping to bring awareness to make it easier for people that again really are in desperate need of these medications to access these medications. And especially not getting not getting looked at as a drug addict or someone who's seeking to get these medications just to get high. Because even in the medical community, there have been times when I've met new doctors and they'll kind of treat me a certain way when I tell them these medications are the ones that I take. And it doesn't happen very often, to be honest with you. Most of my doctors have been very professional and very trustworthy of me, which they should be because I've never abused it. But so for the most part, I've always had wonderful doctors that were very compassionate. But on occasion, I have encountered doctors that will kind of give me the side eye and like, well, do you really need it? Or maybe you have a problem. And it's really humiliating to be in that type of situation, especially when you're talking to a medical professional, somebody that you're looking to help you. And so anyway, so she was telling me about these efforts that they're making in order to raise more awareness for people that really are in desperate need for these medications. And I know that a lot of people that I've encountered throughout my career, either in my work or even just, individuals that I've met that suffer from any type of depression or chronic illness, I know that often these people can feel embarrassed and ashamed because they have to take these medications, and they feel very apprehensive of what people are going to think of them when they find out that they have to take these medications, to help them. So all right, guys, well, that's about it. I hope this video helps to bring light to people that don't really understand chronic illness or depression, and you don't really understand why people have to take these medications. And I hope that it helps those of you that do take these medications to feel, again, that you should not be ashamed, you should not be embarrassed. If they've really helped you to live a functional, normal life, and you're responsible with them, that you don't abuse these medications, then you really have nothing to feel bad about it. You have nothing to feel embarrassed about. And don't let anybody make you feel a certain way because you have to take them. So, okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate your time and attention and listening to what I have to say. So, okay, guys, remember, take care of yourself. Protect yourself physically and emotionally. And don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.